guys, it's Teresa. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be filming a huge collective book haul, and I already know it's gonna be huge because I've already filmed a part of it and I was gonna upload it like by itself, but I still haven't, and I already got more books, so I thought, you know what, instead of like uploading 3 separate hauls in like the span of a few weeks, I'm just gonna collect all the clips and make it one video, right? Let's hope that's not a mistake. But I have a ton of books to show you. As I said, there's gonna be different clips. Some of them are older, so like I still have long hair in those. But yeah, I'm just gonna jump into it because it's already gonna be a long video. Okay, I'm very excited about this. Okay, so the first book I have is We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I've been looking at this book for so long. I know that Books and Lala, I don't know why I was just confused by her name, really loves this book. She's talked about it to no end all the time, and I was like, why haven't I read it before? So I bought it. Yay, that's me. This book is about a young man who is put in prison for a murder that he, as it says, may or may not have committed. So that's quite interesting. And then I think, as far as I can tell from the blurb, it's a little confusing, but I think we're gonna get a flashback to that time when he was like an actor, and there was a group of him and his like 7 friends, and then one of them showed up dead. And it's kind of like, I believe, one of these stories that kind of starts at the end and then you find out what happened. And oh my god, I love those. I don't know why. I'm really a sucker for like, the person is in prison, committed for murder. Did they do it? Like, oh. Next, I have 2 sequels to a book that I just read in November. Those are Layer of Dreams and Before the Devil Breaks You by Liva Bray. Books 2 and 3 in the Diviners series. I've actually already read Layer of Dreams. I gave it 4 stars, really enjoyed it, and now I'm gonna jump into this super soon. I will say, hey, whoever publishes these, please, you really messed up the covers. Like, you really messed up the covers. The original first book had the best cover of all, but honestly, since then, it's just been going downhill. These covers, let me show you the Diviners because I have it right here, are not cute. And also, why are they not even the same? Like, the pictures are the same, but then you change the font. Like, what is happening? Why would you do this? What is the purpose? And then, what is this? What is this font? What is this? On the topic of not my favorite covers ever, I have 2 Georgette Hair books, the first of which I've also already read. This is Sylvester, and then I also have These Old Shades. As you know, Georgette Hair writes the best historical romances. I didn't love Sylvester quite as much, but I did love all the previous ones by her, and I'm really excited to get into These Old Shades because this is actually the first series by her that I'm going to be reading. I'm very excited to see how that goes. This is the first book, and as far as I know, there's some cross-dressing involved and females pretending to be males, and oh my god, I love it. I love it. Especially in a historical setting where there was like a very clear-cut line, you know, between like, oh, you see like a person with short hair and trousers, must be a man. So that kind of doesn't work anymore today, but I love this trope in a historical setting. So can't wait. Really can't wait. I'm so excited. Guys, I have made a terrible mistake. Even while making this mistake, I was aware that it was one, but I still did it. So that doesn't show you I'm a very intelligent person. I don't know what does, but in my defense, it is secondhand, so didn't pay all that much for it. And I just wanted to know. I was too curious. And yes, we all know curiosity killed the cat, and also probably my will to live if I do end up reading this. Let's move on. I got Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. Diane Setterfield is the author of The 13th Tale, which I loved last year. Such a good book. Read it, please. And when I saw that this was out and had a really pretty cover as well, I was like, I need to buy this, okay? The blurb doesn't really tell you too much. It just says that one night a man walks into a pub and brings, that sounds like a joke, like the beginning of a joke, but in his arms he carries a dead child who drowned in the river, but then she wakes up and returns to life miraculously. And nobody knows what happened. So it's kind of like a mystery, but other than that, I have no idea. I'm excited and I love this cover. It's so pretty, guys. It's so pretty. Another book I said I probably was never gonna get and still did get is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I don't know what is up with me recently being like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna get the books because I need to know. Like, people are still reading and loving this, and I know that the third book is also already out, and I was like, okay, well, let me just feel it out. I want to know what the hype is all about, basically. So I got Scythe. As we all know, this is about a like utopian world in which death doesn't exist. So for population control, people called scythes have to go around killing people, which doesn't sound that utopian to me. So I'm interested. Next, I have a book that I got like 99% of the cover. Like there's like 1% missing. No, 99% because of the cover. Because look at it. I mean, what is this? Why is this so freaking cool? It looks so freaking cool, you guys. It's Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is about a school where a disease breaks out and kills most of the people, and the survivors are like cut off from the rest of the world. And this disease is called Tox, and for some reason, the first thought I had was, oh, that's an STD. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it is. Plot twist. Maybe it is. Second to last, I have A House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. The only reason I picked this up is because it's a retelling, again, of the 12 Dancing Princesses, one of my favorite fairy tales from when I was a kid. Also, the source material from one of my favorite books that I read this year, which was Entwined by Heather Dixon. And I would love to see a different new interpretation of that, kind of like to look at side by side with Entwined, because it obviously draws from the same source. So I'm excited. Can't wait to read this. This is also 2019 release. And lastly, for this clip, I have one of the creepiest covers, well, a book with one of the creepiest covers ever, and that is Machines Like Me by Ian McEwan. This is also pretty creepy, but when I opened the box in which these came, this was staring at me, and I wasn't all too happy with that, to be perfectly honest, because that's terrifying. So I read and quite enjoyed Nutshell by him a few years ago. And it's also a really weird book written from the perspective of a fetus in his mother's womb. So I'm not surprised that this is also kind of weird. It's set in an alternative 1980s London that is very advanced. So we have synthetic humans, and this guy is in love with a girl, and he buys a Why can't I speak today? He buys a synthetic human, and a love triangle develops with that robot person in the mix. So I'm very interested in this. That's it for now. Let's jump right into the next clip and keep going with this book haul. I got a bunch of Ruth Ware books because in August, I read The Turn of the Key, which was my first Ruth Ware, and I really enjoyed the atmosphere and the way it was written and how spooky it was, and I just instantly was like, I know Ruth Ware is hit or miss for a lot of people, and usually people are like, oh, it's not the most creative thriller, but I still wanted to like read all of them. So I found them all secondhand on Amazon and ordered literally all 4 of them. I think that there's only 4. I don't know. I have 4. So I have In a Dark, Dark Wood. As you can see, these are also all hardcovers, which is really cool. And I paid about €6 for all of them, including shipping. So this book is about a writer who like accepts an invitation to go on a weekend retreat to like a house in the woods, I think. And then weird things happen. And then also she wakes up in a hospital bed 48 hours later, and she knows that someone has died. And like, after reading The Turn of the Key, I feel like this sounds very familiar because it's sort of a similar setup. In The Turn of the Key, the main character like is put on trial, and you know at the beginning that somebody has died and like she's blamed for it. So I really like this sort of twisted thing, like telling a story from the end to the beginning, kind of like the opposite order. I don't know. I like that. Hopefully I like this one as well. I think this was her first book. And we'll see. I hope it's good. This one is about a journalist who goes on the cruise, I think, for a story that she has to write. And one night she hears a woman being thrown overboard, and she's certain that she has like sort of witnessed this. But when she rejoins the other people, she finds out that no one is actually missing. So it sounds like really intriguing, and I love this cover. I don't know if this shows up on camera, but it has a very like the raindrops on it are raised, so it's a very tactile experience. I just love it. It looks so cool. I can't wait to read this. The next one is The Lying Game, which, as you might be able to tell immediately, is actually a Book of the Month edition, which to me is really cool because I've never had a Book of the Month subscription, and I think it's so cool that I have their edition here. It looks pretty cool. I think they also have like separate covers every time, so I think that's pretty cool. And this book is about a very generic thriller setup, if I do say so myself. Basically, it follows a group of 4 women that when they were younger had like a habit of like lying a lot. It reminds me a lot of The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. But yeah, basically their little game had consequences, and then in the present day their secrets come up again. Like really a lot of thrillers work this way, but I hope this one is a good version of this very, very, very persistent trope that will probably never go away, let's be honest. And finally, I have The Death of Mrs. Westaway, which is about a woman that inherits an estate, I think. But basically she knows that she's not actually the one who inherited it, but because she received this letter, she then like cons her way into the situation, pretends to actually be the person who inherited it, and like bad things start to happen. Honestly, I'm pretty sure there's a Westaway that appears in The Turn of the Key in like an email. No, wait. I think it was because I started in a Dark Wood book and I read like 6 pages. And I think there's an email here that CC'd someone Westaway. Yeah, Iris P. Westaway, which knowing that she was going to write this book, or that this book was coming out as well, I find that really funny. It's like a little Easter egg. But I don't know if these are related at all or connected at all. It sounds like a just slightly different version from The Turn of the Key, but it's probably quite different. So I'm excited to have these 4 in my life now. I can't wait to read them. October is gonna probably see me read quite a bit of them, or quite a bit of thrillers in general, because it's obviously the spooky month. And then I have another book that I don't actually own, but I borrowed it from a friend, so I'm still gonna haul it, and that is Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow by Yuval Noah Harari. He's the author of Sapiens, an audiobook I listened to, I think this year, I don't actually remember, but I quite enjoyed it, and this is basically the sequel. So Sapiens is our history, and then this is basically just a look to the future, and I think that sounds really, really cool and interesting. I don't know when I'll actually get to read this. As I said, I listened to the first one on audio, and that's obviously a much easier way and less involved way to consume something that's probably pretty dense, but since I have it in my house, I hope to at least read some of this. The next book I have is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I've heard so much about this book so far, and I've been meaning to buy it for a very long time, and I finally did. This book is about 2 people that grew up in a small town in Ireland that are very different. Like one is very popular and the other is very much a loner and like an outcast, and they like strike up a friendship, and I don't know, it just sounds really cool. Pretty, like, it does sound like a very standard story, but I'm assuming that Sally Rooney does something special, or at least sort of memorable with it. So I hope to read this very soon. Let me know if you have read this already and what you thought of it, because while I've heard people say it's really good, I don't really know why. So I love to know your thoughts in the comments. The next book I have is Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. I've also been meaning to buy another Sarah Waters and read another Sarah Waters for the longest time. I've read The Paying Guest for her, I think last year, and I really, really enjoyed it. And since then I've been wanting to read another one of her books. And this one is set in the 1860s, and it follows an orphan who like becomes a petty thief, but her fate is supposedly linked to that of another orphan growing up in a gloomy mansion not too many miles away. I love historical fiction, and I think Sarah Waters is a great writer. I also love stories about thieves specifically, so I'm excited to read this. I think this was recommended to me by some of you when I asked what else I should read by Sarah Waters, so I hope that you're still standing by that recommendation. And yeah, I'm excited to jump into this. Again, I hope to read it soon, because I've been meaning to read more Sarah Waters, so I just, like, at some point just need to sit down and actually do it. And the final book I have is The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty, another book I've just been, like, eyeing but never buying for many months now. This is the sequel to The City of Brass, I read that one 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, isn't that a 27 release? And I think this one came out in 2018, as far as I know. And then the sequel comes out, no, it's actually 2019 book, never mind. But the sequel to this comes out next year, I think. The third one, and probably the final one. This is a Jin story, fantasy story that I really enjoyed. I liked the first one a lot. This looks like massive. It's, I think, like 600 pages or so. Yeah, so it's gonna be a little while, and I definitely have to reread The City of Brass first, but I definitely want to jump into this as well. I hope it's a good sequel. Please be a good sequel. Oh my god. I haven't read good sequels in a while, I feel like. I mean, ones that weren't less good at least than the first book hasn't happened, I think, in like half a year, so I'm ready for it, okay? I'm very ready. Please, you be that book, because I need it. So it's now several weeks later and I'm back to complete this long-awaited book haul. I had to wait quite a bit for these books to arrive because Thalia, if you live in Austria, not that good on their delivery times. But anyway, they're here and I'm gonna show you the books. Actually, I have a whole box that I can unbox for you. So that's pretty fun and exciting. And we're gonna get into this. But first, I have two more books that I want to show you that I've already read, but not yet hauled. The first is A Very Nice by Marcy Demansky. This is a literary fiction novel, I think, and it follows a college student called Rachel who sleeps with her college professor, and then her professor kind of loses his place to stay quite unexpectedly and ends up moving in with her for the summer, and then also has a relationship with her mother. And it's really weird. It's as weird or even more weird as it sounds. There's a lot of characters in this book and they're all connected in some way, shape, or form. And honestly, it's not a good book. I'm gonna talk about this more in my wrap up as well as in my best to worst 2019 releases book video, not book. If that's up already, I will link it. But it's not that good. I think it's kind of boring and there's not really much of a point to it, unfortunately. I wish I had enjoyed it more. I saw Paperback Dreams' sister talk about it and she seemed to really enjoy it, but it's really not my thing. I think we just might have really different reading tastes, but I don't really see the appeal, to be perfectly honest. And the same unfortunately goes for the second one, and that is The Beautiful by Renée Ahdieh. I've already read this and filmed a whole rant video about it, so you can go watch that in the cards or in the description. This book is set in the 1880s and it follows a French girl called Céline who moves to New Orleans and stays at a convent there and then kind of gets drawn into a paranormal society type of situation. It's very boring, very bad, and really poorly written, so go watch my video for more thoughts on the whole thing. But now, let's get into this beauty. Let me see if I can unbox it so you can actually see it. This is, as always, the most satisfying part. Oh, if it works at least. Let me try this side. Yay! Oh no! No, one of the book has like kind of slightly broken pages now. I don't know if that was my fault. Okay, so the first book I have in here is Dodie Smith's I Capture the Castle. Murphy Napier read this book recently because she like reads a lot of classics. Kudos to her, because I can't do that, but she reads many classics like every month. It's very impressive. But this was one that she talked about specifically as being really good. I think this is actually middle grade or like children's, I don't actually know. And this is the one that has like broken pages now. I don't think that was my doing. I think it just kind of wrapped it poorly. That sucks. Hate when that happens. Oh no. This is the diary of Cassandra Mortmain, which tells of her extraordinary family and their crumbling castle home. Cassandra's father was once a famous writer, but now he mainly reads detective novels while his family slide into genteel poverty. Her sister Rose is bored, beautiful, and desperate to marry Riches. Riches or Rich? Their stepmother Topaz is in the habit of striding through the countryside wearing only her Wellington boots, but all their lives will soon be... Okay, this is why are there so many mistakes in this? That is unsettling because it says, but all their lives will soon be transformed. This is the second mistake. I think they didn't mean to write to marry riches. It's supposed to be to marry rich. Is this a translation? I'm so confused. But all their lives will soon will soon be transformed by the arrival of new neighbors from America, and Cassandra finds herself falling in love. I'm so confused. This is as long as the blurb is, and there's 2 mistakes in it. How did that happen? I mean, what? I'm very confused. The next book is Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore. I have been eyeing this book forever. It sounded very interesting, and I just never wanted to pick it up until at one point I was like, now I'm gonna do it. I find the cover absolutely stunning, and I don't think I've heard a single bad thing about this book so far, so very, very optimistic about it. This is, I think, a YA book about a family who is like cursed. They tend a garden and they can't fall in love, otherwise the person they die, the person they love dies. So interesting. I'm very intrigued. Second to last, I have another book that Murphy recommended, and I was like, that sounds like it's right up my alley. Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant. This is, I think, a dark Little Mermaid retelling, or just like a mermaid story by itself, like without a basis in the Little Mermaid story. This seems to be about a mockumentary at the Mariana Trench, and it's kind of been called a hoax. It's similar to Blair Witch Project, I think. And then now a new crew has been assembled. They seek to validate their life's work. But for the main character, it's a voyage to uncover the fate of the sister she lost. Sounds very intriguing. I literally want to read this immediately, and honestly, I might, but I'm worried I'm gonna love it too much, and then I'm gonna just hate myself because I've already filmed like my end of year wrap-up videos, and if this is a favorite, then I would be very sad if I can't put this in a favorites video. So I might wait just like a week more until it's 2020, and then this is definitely gonna happen. And the final book I wanted to show you is The Unhandy Mooners by Christina Lauren. This follows a woman whose sister is getting married, and then the married couple obviously had like a honeymoon planned, but when they contract like food poisoning at the wedding, they can't take the trip, so the main character and the best man, who she doesn't like, have to take the trip kind of together to like make use of it because it was already paid for and stuff like that. So it sounds very much like a story where you just have to suspend your disbelief and kind of go with it. But honestly, most rom-coms are like this, and this seems like literally a rom-com written down in book form. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see something else by Christina Lauren, and also I just adore this cover. Can you just see that? Like, it's also tactile. The spine is absolutely stunning, and I'm very impressed by this cover design. I love it. It's probably not the best like winter read, but I kind of want to read it immediately as well. And that is it for this huge collective book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found maybe some new books that you want to try out, and let me know what books you recently got that you think I should check out for my next haul, because honestly, it's coming. There's always gonna be a next one. Please like, subscribe, the usual, and I'll see you back very soon for another video. Until then, have a lovely week. Bye!